You are tired. But this is not the kind of tiredness that a few hours of sleep will fix. It follows you the moment you open your eyes in the morning, even before you sit up in bed, even before the daylight seeps through the curtain gap. That weight has already settled in your chest, between your shoulders, as if someone quietly tore a piece out of you in the night. This is not the tiredness of your body. It is the tiredness of your soul. You feel like a battery that everyone plugs into and uses, a battery that drains day by day but is never allowed to run out completely. You go to work in the morning, someone wants something, you deliver. The phone rings at noon, someone has a problem, you listen. Evening comes, another need, again you. And in the middle of all this, always the same face, the smiling, understanding, it's fine version of you. I'll handle it, you say. Just ask and I'll be there, you say. But somewhere deep inside, a voice so faint it can barely be heard whispers, "Stop now," and you suppress that voice. Because saying no is foreign to you, even a little frightening. Saying no feels like losing people, the possibility of not being loved, the possibility of being abandoned, and you cannot even bear to think about that possibility. Then you look around, and you notice those who know less than you have more of a say, those who try less than you rise faster, those who feel less than you are loved more, and you are left behind again, in a corner again, fulfilling someone else's wish again. Your words cut off again, making do with what is left for you again. With what is left, meaning the scraps. Think about that word for a moment. Scraps. The pieces no one turns back to look at on the table, seen as worthless, left for last. This is what is offered to you, and the most painful part, you accept it. Because a voice inside you still says, better than nothing. You think your kindness is a virtue. You think if you give a little more, if you are a little more patient, they will finally see you, finally give you value, but they won't. They won't see you. In fact, the more you give, the less they respect you. This is a rule. Deep in human psychology, unlimited generosity is perceived not as love, but as weakness. And people do not respect what is free. They use it until it runs dry, like a glass of water. They drink, they put it down, they drink again when it is refilled. If you want the bleeding to stop, if you want to move from the position of prey to the position of architect of your own reality, you must do something specific, something contrary to everything you have been taught about being a good person. But do this once, and the world will stop using you and will be forced to tremble on the day it loses you. Most people live their entire lives as NPCs in someone else's game. Non-player characters, figures who never take the stage. They are resources to be exploited, and the real players of that game instinctively recognize these resources. You are also behaving like a resource. You were conditioned to believe that your usefulness is your value, that you are safe as long as you are of service. This belief was planted in you at a very early age. Perhaps you learned to be the good child to earn approval. Perhaps you made yourself invisible so as not to be abandoned. Each time the same lesson was reinforced. If you are useful enough, you will be loved. This is the lie that enslaves you. We are going to eliminate this lie. We will understand why narcissists, manipulators, and energy vampires constantly target you. I am not just going to tell you to be confident. I am not going to tell you to love yourself either. These are poster words. We are going to get into the real mechanics of power. We will examine the concept of the monster in the garden. We will address why being harmless is not a virtue, but, on the contrary, a sin. And I will give you the psychological keys to being mentally untouchable. But let me say this from the start. This change is not comfortable. It requires the death of who you currently are. The person who says yes while every instinct screams no must die. That person must die so that the sovereign can be born. The secret is not about being cruel, not about being the bad guy, not about crushing people. It is about masterfully using a specific psychological trigger that causes people to instantly and instinctively reassess your value. Most people will never find this trigger. They will die bitter, exhausted, empty, wondering why they left a world that took everything and gave nothing back. But you are here. Let the surgery begin. In nature, a predator does not attack another predator unless forced to. A lion does not hunt a wolf for pleasure. Too risky, the cost too high. A predator hunts the harmless, the slow, the weak. Risk is minimum, yield is maximum. When you present yourself to the world as harmless, always compliant, always smiling, you are signaling that you are ready to be exploited. You think you are showing that you are virtuous, but the primitive brain of the people around you is reading a very different signal. That signal is this: no consequences. And where there are no consequences, there is no respect. Think of the people you respect most. Do you respect them because they do everything you say, because they cannot harm you? No. You respect them because they have power. They have a boundary. You instinctively know that if you cross that boundary, there will be a reaction. There is a potential for danger. And that potential breeds respect. A harmless man is not a good man. A harmless man is not a virtuous man. A harmless man is simply a rabbit. And a rabbit cannot be virtuous because it has no choice. It is forced to be peaceful because it cannot be anything else. It does not choose the fight. It is simply incapable of fighting. It does not choose forgiveness. It is simply powerless to take revenge. True virtue is having the capacity for destruction and choosing peace despite that capacity, having teeth and preferring not to use them. This is controlled power. This is what commands respect. The situation you are in right now is not a coincidence. People are using you because you have shown them time and again that you have no boundaries. You taught them that every behavior goes unanswered, that every violation goes unpunished. They canceled plans at the last minute. You silently accepted. Your words were cut off. You withdrew. You were given less than you deserved, yet you agreed. You were deceived, but instead of anger, you showed understanding. And each time the same thing happened. The boundaries collapsed. The space was left entirely to them. They are not as complicated or desperate as you think. Their heads are not confused. They are not going through a difficult process. They are simply testing you in an instinctive, automatic way, just like a creature probing a vulnerable spot. Each time they push a boundary and you retreat, they learn something more clearly. There's no one stopping them here. And you, without realizing it, are presenting yourself like a devalued territory. Now, the real thing you need to face is this: the sole reason for what they do is not them. You are also inside this system because you have no boundaries. You gave them the ability to hurt you. Accepting this is not easy because this means stepping out of the comfort of seeing yourself as only a victim. It means shouldering part of the responsibility. Uncomfortable, but at the same time, liberating because you do not have to change others, but you can change yourself. So why did you allow this? Because you were afraid. Not close to the surface, this fear is much deeper. If you set a boundary, if you show your teeth, you believe people will abandon you. And beneath this fear lies a harsher truth. Deep down, you believe you are not worthy of being loved without offering something, as if your existence alone is not enough. This is why you try to receive love in exchange for a price, by giving, by enduring, by depleting yourself. But this is not a trade. This is a system where you always come out at a loss. The first step to stopping exploitation is to stop being harmless. It is to integrate the monster. We will get to how to do this. But first, we must understand the full mechanics of the trap you are in. You are unknowingly running a fraud. You do not know you are doing this. You think you are a saint, but psychologically, you are signing a secret contract with everyone you know. You do not put this contract on the table. You never discuss it. You never negotiate it. You sign it in your head and act as if the other party has also signed it. The contract looks like this: I will hide my needs. I will never appear unjustly angry. I will do everything for you. I will be the perfect employee, partner, friend. I will not seem difficult. And in return, you must love me, protect me, and never abandon me. This seems fair to you, but Here is the catch. You never told them about this contract. You signed it in your head, and now you feel anger at them for violating an agreement they never signed, never even knew about. This is the dark side of the good boy or good girl syndrome. Sacrifice on the surface, manipulation at the core. A strategy of avoiding rejection by becoming indispensable. If I am useful enough, they cannot throw me away. This is the strategy of a servant trying to avoid the whip. And no matter how cleverly the servant plays, the servant is still a servant. When you act with a secret contract, you are not giving freely. You are lending at interest. And when people do not repay you with the currency of approval, you become bitter. This bitterness seeps out in passive-aggressive remarks, deep sighs, silent treatment, and people feel it. They see the anger in you and regard you with less respect. They see you as a martyr, and no one truly respects a martyr until they are dead. You have to tear up the contract. You have to stop trading your obedience for love. Because what you get in return for your obedience is not love, it is approval. And approval is a drug. Its effect wears off in minutes. It makes you tremble. It makes you want more. Real respect, the kind that makes people stop using you, only comes when you act without expecting anything in return or in accordance with your own interests. In economics, there's a concept called opportunity cost. Every yes you say costs you a no somewhere else. When you agree to help a friend move while you are exhausted, you are saying no to your own recovery. When you say yes to unpaid overtime, you are saying no to your dignity. You are selling your life for pennies, and the market value of something always available is zero. Air is vital, but it is free, so no one pays for it. Gold is useless, but it is rare, so people kill for it. You are behaving like air. You need to become gold. How do you become gold? You make yourself scarce. People are programmed to value things they can lose. The impulse to avoid loss is psychologically far more powerful than the desire to gain. Right now, no one is afraid of losing you because there is no possibility of losing you. You are always there, like a lamp in the corner, useful when needed, ignored when not needed. If the lamp had flickered, they would have paid attention. If the lamp had gone out, they would have been left in the dark. But the lamp always burns. You need to learn the art of withdrawal. This is not about playing games. It is not about disappearing to be toxic. It is about consciously redistributing your energy. When you feel used, what does your instinct tell you? To try harder, to explain yourself, to say, "Don't you see everything I do for you?" Stop, silence, withdraw. The moment you pull back your attention, the dynamic changes. Suddenly, the other person feels a void. They approach. They ask, "Is something wrong? Are you angry?" They are not asking because they care about your feelings. They are asking because their energy source has been cut off. They are checking whether the device has malfunctioned. In this moment, you have a choice. You can reassure them. Say, "No, I'm fine, I'm sorry," and plug yourself back in. Or you can maintain the silence, and you can say, "I am just focusing on some things right now." Ambiguity is powerful. Clarity is weak. If you are like an open book, people know exactly which pages to tear out. When you are mysterious, they approach you carefully. You must get used to the gap between yourself and others. Most people fear this gap. They fill it with messages, apologies, unnecessary explanations. The exceptional person is comfortable in the gap. When you stop being the initiator, you see the truth. Who really wants you? Who only finds you useful? Some people's phones will no longer ring. Good. Let the dried leaves fall. You're keeping people who drain you around you because you are afraid of being alone. But loneliness is better than slavery. In loneliness, you can build. In slavery, you can only serve. When you apply scarcity to your presence, your value increases. If you say no to 90% of requests, the 10% you accept becomes a privilege. Before, you were begging for them to see you as important. Now, when you reach out, you make them feel important. You have reversed the script. You are the architect. Now, let us go deeper. Carl Jung once said, "I'd rather be whole than good." To be whole, you must integrate your capacity for evil. You must be able to be dangerous. You must have the ability to burn the bridge while still standing on it. You must be able to let go. You must be able to walk away. People use you because they know you are attached to outcomes. You need the job, the relationship, the approval. The one who cares least has the most power. This is the iron law of relationships. If you cannot walk away, you are imprisoned. To be able to walk away, you need to develop a certain ruthlessness. Against your own need for comfort, you must be willing to face the chaos of the unknown rather than the safety of the familiar. This requires integrating your aggression. Aggression is not violence. It is the raw energy needed to move forward against resistance. Without aggression, your boundaries are lines drawn in sand. With integrated aggression, your boundaries stand like walls. Remember a time when someone disrespected you and you said nothing. You felt a warmth in your chest, a tightening in your throat. That was your shadow screaming to get out. That was your self-respect trying to defend you, and you swallowed it. You swallowed the poison to keep the peace, and the poison made you sick. It accumulated inside. It turned into self-hatred. It turned into that exhaustion. Next time, let the warmth rise. You do not need to scream. You do not need to fight. Simply look them in the eyes with absolute silence and say, "I will not accept this." And then, this is the key moment. Stop talking. Do not explain why. Do not justify it. Do not apologize. Set the boundary and sit in the silence. The silence will be heavy. It will be uncomfortable. The other person will become anxious. They will try to make a joke. They will try to blame you. They will say, "You are being sensitive." You will not react. You will hold the gaze. You will be showing them the monster. You will be showing them that beneath that beautiful, compliant, endlessly tolerant surface, there is something that can never be moved. This moment changes everything. Their brain instantly reclassifies. They convert you from someone safe, usable, predictable, into someone respected, dangerous. You have become a significant person. The fundamental reason you have not yet achieved this is that you are dependent on external regulation. You need them to tell you that you are good. If they get angry at you, your inner world collapses. This is why you try to fix everything. You try to balance your own anxiety by fixing their mood. You must develop emotional autonomy. It means your internal state is independent of their reaction. If they are angry, let them be angry. Digesting their emotions for them is not your job. Imagine yourself as a gray rock, dull, indifferent, impenetrable. When a manipulator tries to provoke you, you give them nothing. "I cannot do this for you. You always used to. I understand that is how you feel." But the answer is no. Flat voice, dead eyes. You do not enter into an argument. Gravity does not argue with you. It simply exists. Be like gravity. When you stop being disappointed and defensive, you take away their power. If there is nothing to hold on to, they cannot trap you. This drives manipulators crazy. They want a reaction, they want a fight. In the silence, they are left alone with their own poison. Emotional autonomy is the ultimate shield. It allows you to observe people instead of absorbing them. You begin to see the strings. Look, they are using guilt to make me work late. Look, they are using the silent treatment to make me apologize. It stops being a lived tragedy and becomes a play you are watching. And while watching the play, you can choose not to play. The only way to win with a manipulator is not to play. You need to reframe your identity. You confused usability with value. The thought, "I am valuable if I am always here," is wrong. Water is everywhere, so we waste it. Diamonds are hidden, so we value them. You must shift your focus from helping to building. Helpers get used. Builders get hired. Helpers expect gratitude. Builders demand a fee. What are you building? Your own structure, your body, your mind, your own empire? Or are you just carrying stones for someone else's castle? When you start focusing on your own mission, you naturally become less accessible. You do not need to pretend to be busy. You are genuinely busy. You are building a life that does not depend on their approval. This is attractive. People are drawn to momentum. When they see you moving toward a goal, they want to be part of it. They will chase you, but this time because they value you, not because you are convenient. This is the transition from nice guy to architect. The architect has a plan, has a blueprint. Someone building a skyscraper does not have time to fix your faucet. If you want the architect's time, you need to offer something of equal value. This filters out the parasites. Parasites look for open wounds. They cannot attach to a moving train. Create a VIP section in your life. Not everyone can enter. The entry fee is respect. The entry fee is reciprocity. If they cannot pay, they stay in the lobby. And you do not feel bad about this because you know the value of what is inside. There is a worse sin than the others, the sin of betraying yourself. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, you are telling your subconscious, I do not matter. My feelings are wrong. My safety is secondary. If you repeat this enough, a deep simmering self-hatred forms inside. This is why you are tired. Not from work. From the war in your head. From the civil war between the part of you that wants to live and the part that kills itself to please others. You must end this war. Declare a ceasefire with yourself and declare war on disrespect. Be willing to be the villain in their story so you can be the hero in your own. They will call you selfish. They will call you cold. They will say, you've changed. Correct. You have changed. You are no longer bait. Let them tell their story. The villain is usually just the character with boundaries. The villain is the person who puts themselves first. Own this title. The moment you truly accept this, the weapons aimed at you begin to lose their effect. Guilt only works as long as you agree to carry it. Shame only imprisons you when you truly believe you should be ashamed. The moment you can shrug and say, if that is what you think, so be it, when someone accuses you of selfishness, their leverage dissolves. Because some accusations are neutralized not by defense, but by refusing their effect. This is the power of deep indifference, and at the same time the beginning of true freedom. The freedom to be misunderstood, the freedom to not be loved. Because the price of being accepted by everyone is, most of the time, giving up yourself. And this is exactly the price you can no longer pay. Now imagine yourself 6 months from now. You walk into a room and you are not waiting for anyone's approval. Your voice is calm, clear, and self-assured. You speak slowly, not to explain, but to take your place. When someone asks something unreasonable of you, you say no with a slight smile on your face. You're not defending yourself, nor feeling guilty afterward. And something strange happens. People respect this version of you because a person with boundaries gives those around them a sense of security. People know where they stand. This version of you is not being used, not being consumed, not constantly being demanded of. On the contrary, becoming someone whose opinion is sought, whose presence carries weight. This reality is not out of reach for you. But it has a price. You need to step out of your comfortable cage. You need to drop the lie, if I am good enough, the world will treat me well too. Because the world moves, not because it is fair, but because it recognizes power dynamics. The world is indifferent most of the time. It pays attention to those who set limits. It treats those who respect themselves differently. You need to show people how to treat you. But you cannot do this with long explanations. You show it by what you do not tolerate. You show it by where you withdraw. You show it by what silence you maintain. Because the subconscious listens not to words but to behaviors. And when you start speaking this language, all the balances change irreversibly. One day you will look back at who you are today, at that person who settled for crumbs of love, who tore themselves apart to be accepted, and you will look at them like a stranger, as if they were an old self who stayed behind so that you could live, be both compassionate and uncompromising toward that old version of yourself, because the thing that kept you small the longest was not others. It was that old identity you now need to leave behind. If you have come this far, you are already not like most people. You are not chasing empty words. You are not looking for a superficial comfort either. You are on the trail of something deeper, yourself. Subscribe. But if you are truly ready to go deeper, the next door is waiting for you, because deep waters are not for everyone. See you inside.